life whispers a truth that many have forgotten. Within each of us lies a wild, untamed spirit waiting to break free. Society may seek to cage it with rules, expectations, and illusions of perfection, but deep down you know the truth. To truly live is to embrace the primal energy within, to shatter the facade, and to step boldly into the chaos of existence. Becoming a savage is not about aggression, it's about authenticity. It's about reclaiming the fire of your soul and daring to live fiercely as nature intended. Within every human being exists a primal essence, a force that predates society, culture, and every constructed identity we carry. This essence is raw, untamed, and deeply woven into the fabric of who we are. It's the wild heartbeat of life itself, echoing through us with every breath, every instinct, and every surge of emotion. Yet in our modern world we have been conditioned to suppress this wildness. From the moment we're born, we're molded, shaped, and taught to fit neatly into the structures of society. We're told to behave, to conform, to quiet the roar inside us so that we can be acceptable, manageable, and predictable. But this taming comes at a cost. The more we suppress the wild within us, the more disconnected we become from ourselves. We lose the vitality that fuels our existence, the spark that makes life exhilarating and meaningful. This is not just about resisting rules or rebelling against authority, it's about something far deeper. It's about rediscovering the part of you that knows how to run free, unafraid of failure, rejection, or the expectations of others. It's about the part of you that thrives in its purest, most authentic state. And to embrace this inner savage is to understand that this wildness is not a flaw but a strength. It is the source of your intuition, your creativity, and your courage. It is the part of you that can face fear without flinching because it knows that fear is just another part of the dance of life. When you connect with this primal energy, you begin to see the world differently. You stop looking for approval from others, and you stop defining your worth by external measures. Instead, you find strength in being exactly who you are, raw, imperfect, and alive. The wild within you is not chaotic for the sake of chaos, it is purposeful. It exists to guide you back to what matters most, your instincts, your passions, and your unfiltered truth. This primal energy has always known what you truly want, what lights your soul on fire, and what path is yours to walk. Yet so often we ignore it. We bury it beneath layers of doubt, fear, and the endless noise of modern life. Becoming a savage means peeling back those layers and reclaiming that inner voice. When you stop fighting your wild nature, you begin to see that life itself is wild. It is unpredictable, untamed, and full of surprises. And that's not something to fear, it's something to celebrate. The more you align yourself with this reality, the more you flow with life instead of resisting it. You stop clinging to control and instead ride the waves of existence with a fearless heart. This is the essence of the savage spirit, not to dominate or destroy, but to move through life with unshakable authenticity and purpose. This wildness is not about recklessness or abandoning responsibility. It's about finding balance. It's about being grounded enough to face challenges with clarity and strong enough to let your instincts guide you through uncertainty. When you embrace your inner savage, you stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You start living fully with every ounce of your being engaged in the present moment. You trust yourself to make decisions, to take risks, and to pursue what truly matters to you. The world needs this version of you, the untamed, unapologetic version that isn't afraid to show up fully. This isn't just about personal fulfillment, it's about being a force of nature in the lives of others. When you embrace your primal energy, you inspire those around you to do the same. You become a beacon of authenticity in a world that often feels artificial and disconnected. Becoming a savage is not a transformation into something new, it is a return to who you have always been. It is a homecoming to the core of your being. It is a reclamation of the wild, beautiful, and unstoppable force that is your true self. Once you embrace it, life will no longer feel like something that happens to you. Instead, it will become a vast, exhilarating adventure, one that you navigate not with fear, but with fierce determination and an unyielding love for the journey. The idea of perfection is one of the greatest illusions ever sold to humanity. From the earliest moments of our lives, we are told that we must strive to be perfect, to achieve flawless grades, to maintain impeccable appearances, to say the right things at the right times. We are taught that any deviation from this ideal is a failure, a sign that we are somehow less than enough. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself what perfection really is? Who defines it? Why does it matter? The truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's a mirage, a concept created to keep us running endlessly toward something we can never actually reach. When you buy into this illusion, you chain yourself to an impossible standard. You become afraid to take risks because risks might lead to failure, and failure would tarnish your perfect image. You hesitate to show your true self because vulnerability feels like imperfection, and imperfection, you're told, is weakness. But the reality is that this constant striving for perfection is what truly weakens you. It keeps you small, confined, and disconnected from the vibrant, messy, and beautiful reality of being human. To become a savage, you must first destroy the illusion of perfection. You must unlearn the lie that you need to be flawless to be worthy, loved, or successful. You must see that the cracks in your armor are not flaws, they are the places where your light shines through. Imperfection is not something to hide, it is the very thing that makes you relatable, unique, and real. When you embrace your imperfections, you step into a kind of freedom that most people never experience. You are no longer shackled by the fear of being judged or the need to meet others' expectations. You are simply yourself unapologetically. Shattering the illusion of perfection also means embracing the idea that life itself is imperfect. The world is not a polished, orderly machine, it's a wild, chaotic dance of creation and destruction. And that's what makes it beautiful. Trying to control every aspect of your life, trying to force it into a perfect plan, only leads to frustration and disappointment. When you let go of the need for perfection, you open yourself up to the raw, unpredictable beauty of the world. You stop trying to fix what isn't broken, and you start seeing the perfection in imperfection. Think about the most inspiring people you know, the ones who truly move you. Are they perfect? Or are they deeply, beautifully human, with all their flaws and scars on display? The people who change the world, who make an impact, are not the ones who pretend to be perfect. They are the ones who show up as they are, with all their messy humanity intact. They are not afraid to make mistakes because they know that mistakes are how we learn, grow, and innovate. They are not afraid to fail because they understand that failure is simply a step on the path to success. Perfectionism doesn't lead to greatness, it leads to stagnation. It keeps you stuck, afraid to move forward because you might not get it right, but there is no right way to live, no perfect path to follow. There is only your path, and the only way to find it is to take imperfect steps forward. When you embrace imperfection, you give yourself permission to try, to experiment, to explore. You become more resilient because you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as a necessary part of the journey. The illusion of perfection is a heavy burden, but the moment you put it down, you will feel lighter. You will realize that you don't have to prove anything to anyone, not even to yourself. You are already enough just as you are. And when you live from that place of enoughness, you become unstoppable. You stop hiding, you stop hesitating, and you start living with the kind of boldness that only comes from knowing that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Chaos is the natural state of life, and yet so much of human effort is spent trying to resist it. We build routines, plan every detail, and cling to the illusion of control because chaos feels like a threat. It's unpredictable, messy, and unrelenting. But what if the very thing you fear holds the key to your freedom? What if chaos isn't your enemy but your greatest teacher? To become a savage, you must stop fearing chaos and start dancing with it. This doesn't mean surrendering to anarchy, it means learning to flow with the unpredictable rhythm of life instead of fighting against it. Life is not a straight line, it's a storm of interconnected events, full of unexpected turns and surprises. No matter how much you plan or prepare, you can never control every outcome. People change, circumstances shift, and the unexpected becomes the norm. When you cling too tightly to control, chaos feels like a betrayal, a disruption of the order you've worked so hard to create. But chaos is not here to destroy you, it's here to awaken you. It shakes you out of your complacency and forces you to confront the truth life is wild, and so are you. Dancing with chaos means embracing uncertainty with curiosity instead of fear. It's about seeing the unknown not as a void to be avoided, but as a canvas of infinite possibilities. When you let go of the need to control every detail, you create space for magic to happen. Opportunities you never imagined begin to unfold. The very chaos you once feared becomes a source of creativity, growth, and transformation. It teaches you flexibility, resilience, and the power of adaptability. The savage spirit understands that chaos is not separate from order, it is its counterpart. Just as day follows night, order arises from chaos, and chaos disrupts order. This eternal dance is the essence of existence. Resisting chaos is like resisting the tide, it only leads to exhaustion and frustration. But when you align yourself with its rhythm, you find a kind of flow that makes life feel effortless. You learn to ride the waves instead of being drowned by them. In every chaotic moment, there is an opportunity to grow. Challenges push you out of your comfort zone, forcing you to confront your fears and limitations. They teach you who you really are and what you're capable of. The more you face chaos head-on, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. You stop seeing problems as insurmountable obstacles and start viewing them as puzzles to be solved or adventures to be embraced. Chaos also strips away the illusions you've built around yourself. It reveals what truly matters and what doesn't. When everything feels uncertain, you're forced to prioritize. You begin to see that so many of the things you've been chasing, status, possessions, superficial validation, don't actually hold any real value. What matters is the present moment, the connections you make, and the experiences that shape you. Chaos has a way of simplifying life even as it disrupts it. There is also beauty in chaos, though it may not always be immediately apparent. Think about the way a forest grows wild and untamed, or the way a storm clears the air and nourishes the earth. Chaos is nature's way of creating space for renewal and rebirth. When you embrace it, you tap into that same energy of transformation. You stop being afraid of change and start seeing it as an ally. Dancing with chaos doesn't mean abandoning structure altogether. It means finding a balance between order and unpredictability. It means building a life that can bend without breaking, that can adapt without losing its essence. It's about cultivating a mindset that thrives in uncertainty, that sees every twist and turn as an invitation to grow. Ultimately, to dance with chaos is to trust life. It's to believe that even when things fall apart, something new is being born. It's to know that you have the strength to face whatever comes, not because you can control it, but because you can adapt to it. This trust is the foundation of the savage spirit. It's what allows you to move through life with courage, grace, and unshakable confidence, no matter how wild the storm may become. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. In a world that glorifies strength, power, and invulnerability, being vulnerable is frequently seen as a weakness, a crack in the armor that leaves you exposed. But this perception couldn't be further from the truth. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is the purest form of strength. It requires immense courage to face the world as you truly are, without masks or pretenses. To become a savage is to recognize that your vulnerability is not something to be hidden or feared, but something to be embraced, cultivated, and transformed into a source of unshakable power. True strength is not about appearing invincible. It's about standing tall even when you feel broken. It's about being honest with yourself and others even when the truth is uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're not admitting defeat, you're opening the door to genuine connection and growth. You're acknowledging that you are human, and in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. This is a profound act of bravery because it goes against everything society has conditioned us to believe. Vulnerability is where authenticity lives. It's in the moments when you drop your guard and let others see the real you, flaws, fears, and all that your true power emerges. When you pretend to be perfect, you create walls between yourself and the world. But when you allow yourself to be seen as you are, you invite others to connect with you on a deeper level. This connection is what gives life meaning. It's what builds trust, fosters love, and creates lasting bonds. To embrace vulnerability, you must first let go of the fear of judgment. People will always have opinions, but their opinions do not define you. The savage spirit knows that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. What matters is how you see yourself. When you stand in your truth unapologetically, you become unshakable. You realize that no one can use your vulnerability against you if you've already embraced it yourself. Being vulnerable also means facing your fears head-on. Fear thrives in the shadows, growing stronger the more you avoid it, but when you confront your fears, you strip them of their power. This doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid, it means you'll stop letting fear control you. Vulnerability is about admitting that you're scared but choosing to move forward anyway. It's about taking risks, knowing that you might fail and understanding that failure is not the end, it's part of the process. Through vulnerability, you discover resilience. Life is full of challenges and no one escapes it unscathed, but the moments that test you the most are also the moments that shape you. When you allow yourself to feel deeply, whether it's pain, joy, sorrow, or love, you build the emotional strength needed to navigate life's ups and downs. You learn that it's okay to fall as long as you keep getting back up. Each time you rise, you become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Vulnerability also fuels creativity and innovation. The most groundbreaking ideas and art come from those who dare to express their truth, even when it's uncomfortable or unconventional. When you stop worrying about what others will think, you unlock the freedom to explore, experiment, and create without limits. You allow yourself to dream boldly and take actions that align with your deepest desires. There's a profound freedom in vulnerability. It frees you from the exhausting effort of pretending to be something you're not. It allows you to live with integrity, aligning your actions with your values. And it creates space for transformation. When you stop resisting your emotions and experiences, you open yourself up to growth. You begin to see that even the most difficult moments hold lessons and opportunities for healing. Vulnerability is not a one-time act, it's a way of living. It's about showing up every day with an open heart, even when it feels risky. It's about being present with yourself and others, even when it's uncomfortable. And it's about trusting that no matter what happens, you have the strength to face it. The savage spirit understands that to be truly powerful, you must first be willing to be vulnerable. Only then can you access the depths of your courage, the heights of your potential, and the boundless energy of your authentic self. Life is fleeting, a brief and extraordinary flash of existence in an infinite expanse of time. From the moment you take your first breath, the clock begins to tick. The knowledge of this impermanence can feel overwhelming, even terrifying, but it is also the most powerful reminder of why you must live fully and fiercely. To become a savage is to face the truth of your mortality and use it as fuel to live a bold and unapologetic life. It's about squeezing every drop of meaning, adventure, and intensity out of your time here, leaving no moment wasted. So many people sleepwalk through life, caught in routines, distracted by trivialities, or paralyzed by fear. They live cautiously as though they have all the time in the world, but in doing so, they miss the essence of life itself. And to live fiercely means breaking free from this sleep and diving headfirst into the fullness of your existence. It means refusing to wait for the right time to chase your dreams, mend broken relationships, or take risks. The truth is, the right time is now. Tomorrow is never guaranteed, and the savage understands this not as a cause for despair, but as a call to action. Living fiercely is not about reckless abandon, it's about intentionality. It's about choosing to be fully present in every moment, whether it's exhilarating or mundane. It's about savoring the taste of your morning coffee, feeling the wind on your face, and cherishing the laughter of those you love. When you live this way, you transform ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. You realize that life is not about waiting for grand, defining events, it's about finding magic in the everyday. And to live fiercely also means living in alignment with your true self. So many people are burdened by the weight of expectations, those imposed by society, family, or even themselves. They conform, suppress their passions, and follow paths that don't resonate with their souls. But the savage rejects this. You cannot live fiercely if you're living someone else's version of your life. To honor your finite time on this earth, you must live authentically. Speak your truth, pursue your passions, and make choices that reflect who you are at your core, not who the world expects you to be. And part of living fiercely is embracing risk. No great story is ever written without moments of uncertainty, challenge, and even failure. Playing it safe may keep you comfortable, but it won't make you come alive. The savage knows that taking risks is essential to growth. Whether it's starting a new career, falling in love, or traveling to a place that scares you, it's in these moments of vulnerability and courage that you truly feel the pulse of life. And even when risks don't pay off in the way you hoped, they leave you with lessons, memories, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Living fiercely also means facing your fears about death. Death is the ultimate unknown, the great equalizer that awaits us all. Many people spend their lives avoiding this truth, but avoidance only leads to a half-lived existence. And the savage confronts mortality head-on, not with despair, but with reverence. When you acknowledge that your time is limited, you gain clarity about what truly matters. You stop wasting energy on petty grievances, meaningless pursuits, and toxic relationships. You focus on what brings you joy, fulfillment, and peace. Dying boldly is the natural counterpart to living fiercely. It means approaching the end of your life with no regrets, knowing you gave everything to the experience of being alive. This doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt or fear. It means you'll meet them with the same courage and grace that defined your life. To die boldly is to leave behind a legacy, not necessarily of fame or wealth, but of authenticity, love, and impact. It's to be remembered not for what you achieved, but for how you made others feel, how you inspired them to live their own lives more fully. Ultimately, living fiercely and dying boldly are two sides of the same coin. They are about embracing the full spectrum of existence, from its soaring highs to its crushing lows, without holding back. And to live as a savage is to honor the gift of your life by living it with intensity, purpose, and passion. It's to face each day with a determination to make it count, and to meet the end with the knowledge that you truly lived. The idea of being a savage isn't about brute force or domination. It's about embodying an unrelenting spirit and embracing a life of unapologetic authenticity. At its core, it is about knowing yourself so deeply that no external force can shake your foundation. And to live as a savage is to embody a level of self-awareness, confidence, and purpose that allows you to approach life not as a passive participant, but as an active, engaged force of nature. It means living a life of clarity and passion, unafraid to take risks or challenge the status quo. Every savage begins with a commitment to authenticity. So much of modern life revolves around masks, roles we play, personas we project, and identities we create to fit into the expectations of others. But these masks disconnect us from who we truly are. They dilute our energy, fragment our sense of self, and keep us trapped in cycles of self-doubt. To become a savage, you must shatter these illusions and rediscover your true essence. This is not an easy process. It requires brutal honesty, introspection, and the courage to face parts of yourself that you may have ignored or suppressed. But once you commit to this path, you begin to live in alignment with your true nature, and that alignment becomes your superpower. Living unapologetically means shedding the fear of judgment. People will always have opinions, but their views are a reflection of their own perspectives and insecurities, not of your worth. A savage understands this and refuses to let external validation dictate their choices. When you live unapologetically, you stop seeking permission to be yourself. You trust your instincts, pursue your passions, and express yourself freely. You no longer waste energy trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you. Instead, you carve your own path, one that reflects your unique identity and purpose. Another hallmark of the savage spirit is resilience. Life is unpredictable and, at times, incredibly challenging. The savage doesn't crumble under pressure. They adapt, learn, and rise stronger. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel pain, fear, or doubt. It means you don't let those emotions define you. When setbacks arise, you face them head-on. You see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow. You embrace failure as a necessary part of success, understanding that every stumble teaches you something valuable about yourself and the path ahead. And to fully embrace the savage mindset, you must also cultivate an unshakable sense of purpose. Purpose gives your life direction, meaning, and energy. It's the driving force that propels you forward, even in the face of adversity. Without purpose, it's easy to drift through life, caught in routines and distractions that sap your vitality. But when you are connected to your purpose, you live with intention. Every action, no matter how small, becomes infused with meaning. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing, it simply has to resonate deeply with you. It's about finding what makes you come alive and dedicating yourself to it fully. The savage also understands the importance of balance. While it's essential to live fiercely and pursue your passions with intensity, it's equally important to honor rest, reflection, and connection. The savage knows that energy must be replenished, that moments of stillness are just as vital as moments of action. This balance creates sustainability, allowing you to maintain your momentum without burning out. Finally, the savage lives with gratitude. Every day is a gift, and every experience, whether joyful or painful, holds value. Gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you focus on what you have rather than what you lack. It fosters resilience, deepens connections, and enhances your sense of purpose. When you live with gratitude, you approach life with an open heart, ready to embrace its infinite possibilities. To live as a savage is to embody your fullest potential, to stand firmly in your truth, and to navigate the world with a fearless, open spirit. It's about owning your story, embracing your power, and creating a life that is uniquely and unapologetically yours. It's not just a way of living, it's a declaration to the universe that you are here, alive, and ready to leave your mark. What does it mean to become dangerous? It's not about wielding violence or chaos, it's about embodying a presence so powerful, so rooted in conviction and self-awareness, that nothing can shake you. To become dangerous is to step boldly into the unknown, to confront life's challenges with unwavering clarity, and to live authentically, free from the illusions that bind others. It's about mastering your inner world so that you can face the outer world without fear. Becoming dangerous does not mean wielding violence or creating chaos. It is not about instilling fear in others or being reckless. Instead, it is about cultivating a presence so profound and unshakable that you become a force to be reckoned with, not because you impose yourself upon the world, but because you have mastered yourself. To be dangerous is to possess an energy that radiates strength and purpose, to live with such clarity and conviction that others cannot help but take notice. It is not a matter of tearing others down, but of lifting yourself up to a state where you no longer need external validation, where you are guided by your own principles rather than the shifting whims of others. The idea of becoming dangerous challenges conventional perceptions. We are often taught to soften ourselves, to fit into societal molds, to avoid causing discomfort or disruption. But in doing so, we lose the essence of what it means to be alive. To be truly alive is to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, even the parts that might make us or others uncomfortable. It means having the courage to stand firmly in who you are, regardless of whether others approve or understand. This kind of courage is inherently dangerous, not because it threatens others, but because it cannot be controlled. When you become dangerous in this way, you are no longer swayed by fear. Fear is the root of so much inaction and conformity. It whispers to us that we should stay in line, avoid risks, and maintain the status quo. But fear is also a lie, a mirage that keeps us from realizing our true potential. To transcend fear is to step into a space of immense personal power, where you act not out of obligation or trepidation, but out of a deep understanding of what truly matters to you. When you are no longer afraid to fail, to be criticized, or to stand alone, you become untouchable. Not in the sense that challenges won't come your way, but in the sense that those challenges will no longer define you or diminish your spirit. This state of being also requires a profound level of self-awareness. To become dangerous, you must know yourself deeply, your strengths, your weaknesses, your passions, and your shadows. It is about looking inward with honesty and compassion, facing the parts of yourself that you might rather ignore. Because the truth is, the most dangerous person is not the one who avoids their darkness, but the one who has embraced it, integrated it, and turned it into a source of wisdom and strength. When you confront your fears and insecurities head-on, they lose their power over you. Instead, they become tools that you can use to navigate the world with greater clarity and purpose. This kind of self-mastery makes you unpredictable in the best way. You are no longer bound by the expectations and limitations that society imposes. Instead, you are free to act authentically, guided by your own inner compass. This freedom is both rare and powerful. Most people live their lives in quiet desperation, shackled by their fears and conditioned beliefs. And to see someone who has broken free from these chains is both inspiring and unsettling, because it reminds others of what they are capable of but have not yet dared to pursue. Being dangerous in this sense also comes with responsibility. Power without wisdom can easily devolve into recklessness or harm. That is why it is essential to balance strength with compassion, confidence with humility. A truly dangerous person is not one who seeks to dominate or control, but one who understands the interconnectedness of all things. They use their power not to harm, but to create, to inspire, to uplift. Their presence is a reminder that it is possible to live fully and authentically while still contributing positively to the world around them. Ultimately, to become dangerous is to become fully yourself. It is to strip away the masks and pretenses, to confront the fears that hold you back, and to live with a boldness that inspires others to do the same. It is not an easy path, but it is a worthwhile one because it leads to a life of true freedom, fulfillment, and impact. When you become dangerous in this way, you don't just change yourself, you change the world around you. Embracing the unknown is one of the most powerful ways to become dangerous. We live in a world that thrives on certainty, predictability, and the illusion of control. Society tells us that to succeed, we must have clear paths, defined goals, and a rigid sense of direction. But in reality, life is nothing like that. It is unpredictable, messy, and full of surprises. To truly become dangerous, you must step into this uncertainty with confidence, not as something to be feared, but as something to be embraced. The unknown is where life's greatest opportunities and possibilities reside. When you venture into uncharted territory, you are forced to let go of the comforting grip of predictability. You must trust in your ability to adapt, to learn, and to navigate without a map. This is where growth happens, when you stop seeking control and start embracing the flow of life. Most people avoid the unknown because it triggers anxiety and fear. The uncertainty of the future can be terrifying, especially when we cannot see the outcomes of our decisions or actions. But it is precisely in this space of uncertainty that we find our true power. When you choose to live with the unknown as your constant companion, you stop playing it safe, you stop following the predictable paths laid out for you by others. Instead, you forge your own path, one that may not always make sense to those around you. You begin to trust that life will unfold as it is meant to, even when you don't have all the answers. This act of trust is dangerous because it challenges the conventional wisdom that we must always have control, always know what's coming next. Letting go of that need for certainty opens up a whole new world of potential. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It is in the moments of chaos and uncertainty that we truly reveal ourselves. These are the moments when we are tested, when our resilience and adaptability are stretched to their limits. It's easy to be complacent when everything is going according to plan, but true danger is found in our response to the unexpected. When you embrace the unknown, you learn to think on your feet, to improvise, to find solutions in places where others might give up. You become resourceful, inventive, and more alive than ever before. Stepping into the unknown is not just about taking risks for the sake of adventure, it is about confronting the fear of the unknown head-on. It is about deciding that you are not going to let fear dictate your choices. The fear of what might go wrong often holds us back from making decisions that could transform our lives. But when you begin to understand that failure and uncertainty are not threats but opportunities, you change the entire game. Instead of shying away from the unknown, You start to see it as a canvas on which to create something new. You embrace failure not as something to avoid, but as a necessary step in your journey. Living in the unknown also teaches you how to be present. When you no longer cling to the need for certainty, you are forced to live in the moment. You can no longer rely on the comfort of plans, schedules, and outcomes. The present moment becomes all you have, and in that space you can find true freedom. This is the paradox of embracing the unknown. It is both terrifying and liberating at the same time. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, but in doing so, it opens up a vast expanse of possibility and growth. Being comfortable with uncertainty means that you can fully engage with life as it unfolds without the constant pressure of needing everything to be predictable or perfect. It is this fluidity that makes you dangerous. You become a force that cannot be easily contained or controlled. People who have embraced the unknown are the ones who create the most meaningful change in the world. They are the ones who innovate, challenge norms, and push the boundaries of what is possible. They are dangerous not because they seek to destroy, but because they seek to create something entirely new, something that cannot be confined by the rules of the past. When you live with the unknown, you begin to understand that uncertainty is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the space where transformation happens. It is where you discover what you are truly made of, where you find the courage to act despite the lack of guarantees. In this way, the unknown becomes a playground for the brave, a place where those who dare to venture are rewarded with the freedom to shape their own destiny. To become dangerous, you must be willing to live with the unknown, to move through it with grace and confidence, and to allow it to reveal the depths of who you are. To be truly dangerous, you must learn how to balance power with wisdom. Power, in its raw form, can be seductive. It can make us feel invincible, superior, and in control. But when power is not tempered by wisdom, it becomes destructive. It is no longer a force for creation, but one for destruction. It can hurt others, alienate us from those around us, and blind us to the consequences of our actions. Power without awareness is like a wild beast, ferocious and untamed, but ultimately uncontrollable and self-destructive. To wield power effectively, we must first understand its nature. Power is not just about strength, dominance, or force. It is the ability to influence, to create, and to make an impact. When you realize this, you begin to understand that true power is not external, it is internal. It is a quiet strength, grounded in self-awareness, compassion, and the ability to see things clearly. This is where wisdom comes into play. Wisdom is the ability to discern the right course of action, to recognize the long-term consequences of our choices, and to act with a sense of responsibility and integrity. Power and wisdom, when combined, create a force that is unstoppable. Wisdom ensures that power is used for good, that it is directed toward the right goals and causes. Without wisdom, power can easily become a tool of selfishness, ego, and greed. We see this throughout history, where those who sought to amass power without understanding the true nature of it caused harm to themselves and others. On the other hand, wisdom without power can leave us impotent, unable to act when action is needed. It is the balance between the two that allows us to become truly dangerous, not because we can crush others, but because we can create, inspire, and influence in ways that are profoundly impactful. The key to mastering this balance is to cultivate an inner peace that allows you to use your power with grace. When you are at peace with yourself, when you are not driven by fear, insecurity, or the need for validation, you can act with clarity. You no longer act from a place of reaction or desperation, but from a place of intention and purpose. This is where wisdom comes in. Wisdom allows you to see beyond the immediate, to understand the bigger picture, and to act in ways that are not just beneficial in the short term, but that will have lasting effects. Power without wisdom often leads to short-sightedness. It is the impulse to dominate or control without considering the broader consequences of your actions. This is the kind of power that seeks to impose its will upon others, without regard for their needs or well-being. It is the power that crushes, that silences, that diminishes. But true power, tempered by wisdom, is about lifting others up. It is about guiding, leading, and inspiring. It is about understanding that your power is not for your benefit alone, but for the benefit of the whole. When you balance power with wisdom, you also learn how to be humble. You understand that no matter how powerful you become, you are still part of a greater whole. You recognize that your influence can only go so far, and that there are limits to what you can control. This humility is not weakness, it is strength. It is the recognition that the greatest leaders and influencers are those who serve others, who use their power to elevate those around them, rather than to diminish them. It is also important to understand that true wisdom comes not from knowing everything, but from knowing everything, but from knowing enough to know that you don't know everything. The wise person is constantly learning, constantly growing, and constantly questioning. They don't act out of arrogance or certainty, but out of a deep understanding of their own limitations and the complexities of the world around them. This humility allows them to remain open, to adjust their course when necessary, and to grow stronger with each challenge. And to become dangerous in the most profound way is to learn how to wield your power responsibly. It is to know when to step forward and when to step back, when to act decisively and when to wait. It is about understanding that power is not an end in itself, but a means to something greater. It is the ability to influence, to inspire, and to make a lasting difference. And it is the wisdom to know that the most dangerous individuals are those who use their power not for domination, but for the upliftment of all. This balance of power and wisdom is what makes someone truly formidable, not in the traditional sense of the word, but in a way that changes the world for the better. And to become truly dangerous, you must confront the abyss within yourself. This abyss is not some external force or challenge, but the darker aspects of your own psyche, the parts of you that you may want to hide or deny. It is the fear, the insecurities, the doubts, and the unresolved pain that reside deep within you. Most people spend their lives avoiding this abyss, either through distraction, denial, or repression. They create stories, illusions, and masks to shield themselves from what lies beneath the surface. But in doing so, they also shield themselves from their true power. The truth is, the abyss within is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. It is the source of your deepest wisdom, your truest strength. When you confront the parts of yourself that you have been avoiding, you no longer give them power over you. Instead, you take control, not by suppressing these aspects, but by integrating them into who you are. The fear, the anger, the shame, they no longer hold you hostage. Instead, you learn to understand them, to use them, and to transform them into something that works for you rather than against you. This process is not easy. Confronting your inner darkness takes immense courage. It is not for the faint of heart. It is about looking at yourself honestly and asking the hard questions, what am I afraid of? What parts of myself do I reject? What truths about myself do I refuse to face? It requires a willingness to sit with discomfort, to feel the pain that comes with self-awareness, and to move through it without turning away. It is a journey into the unknown parts of your own being, a journey that requires you to face not just your strengths, but your weaknesses as well. But when you do face these parts of yourself, something extraordinary happens. You no longer see them as weaknesses. You begin to see them as teachers. The fear you once avoided can become a powerful motivator, driving you to act with purpose and clarity. The pain you have tried to escape can become a source of deep empathy and understanding, allowing you to connect with others in ways you never thought possible. The shame you have buried can transform into self-acceptance, helping you embrace who you are, flaws and all. The darkness within becomes the fuel that propels you toward your fullest potential. The person who has confronted their inner abyss is dangerous not because they are perfect, but because they are whole. They are no longer divided, no longer fragmented by the parts of themselves that they have denied. They are integrated, powerful, and authentic. Their presence commands attention because they no longer hide from themselves, and in doing so, they stop hiding from the world. They are free from the constraints of self-doubt and fear because they have faced those things head-on and emerged stronger on the other side. Facing the abyss also means letting go of the need for external validation. When you confront your own darkness, you no longer need others to approve of you or to tell you who you are. You know who you are. You no longer need the approval of society, family, or friends to feel complete. This is where true freedom lies, not in the approval of others, but in your own acceptance and understanding of yourself. You stop looking outside yourself for answers and start looking within. This process of confronting the abyss is not something that happens overnight. It is a lifelong journey, one that requires constant attention and care. You may find that the abyss you thought you had conquered resurfaces at different points in your life, and that's okay. The work of self-integration is ongoing, but with each step you take toward embracing your inner darkness, you become more dangerous, not because you are impervious to the world, but because you are unafraid of it. You have nothing to hide, nothing to lose, and everything to gain. Ultimately, the person who has faced the abyss within is unstoppable. They are dangerous not because they are angry or vengeful, but because they have found peace within themselves. They no longer live in fear of their own shadows, and in doing so, they illuminate the world around them. They become a source of strength, not just for themselves, but for everyone they encounter. They are free to live authentically, to act with courage, and to make a lasting impact on the world. In embracing the abyss, they have unlocked a power greater than any external force, one that comes from within, from the deepest parts of their being. To become truly dangerous, you must liberate yourself from the social chains that bind you. From the moment we are born, we are shaped by societal expectations, cultural norms, and the judgments of others. We are told who we should be, what we should want, how we should act, and how we should think. These invisible chains hold us captive, shaping our lives in ways that may not align with our true selves. But to be dangerous in the truest sense, you must break free from these constraints. You must dare to live authentically, to follow your own path, regardless of what society expects or demands. The first step in breaking these chains is to recognize them. Many people go through life without even realizing they are shackled by the opinions and expectations of others. They follow prescribed paths because it is what they have been taught is the right way: graduate school, get a job, marry, buy a house, have children. But for many, this path is not their own. It is a blueprint handed to them by the world around them. It is a set of rules designed to maintain the status quo, not to nurture individual expression or personal growth. When you begin to wake up to this, you realize how much of your life has been shaped by external forces. You may have taken on beliefs that were never yours, adopted behaviors that didn't resonate with your true desires, and lived in a way that was more about meeting the expectations of others than about pursuing your own passions. It is a sobering realization, but it is also a liberating one. Once you become aware of these chains, you can begin the process of releasing them. Liberation begins with self-awareness and self-acceptance. You must first accept that you are different from others, and that this difference is not a flaw but a strength. The world often tells us that we must fit in, that we must conform to societal standards in order to be successful or worthy. But in reality, true greatness comes from standing out, from being unapologetically yourself, even if that means going against the grain. The more you embrace who you are, the more dangerous you become, not in the sense of harming others, but in the sense that you become a force that cannot be controlled or easily dismissed. This means you must stop living for the approval of others. Social approval can be intoxicating. It feeds the ego and gives us a false sense of security. But the truth is, seeking external validation can never bring lasting fulfillment. No matter how much you please others, there will always be someone who disapproves, someone who judges you, someone who questions your choices. When you live for the approval of others, you are constantly tethered to their opinions, always second-guessing yourself and your choices. This is exhausting and soul-draining. To break free, you must stop seeking approval and start trusting yourself. You must cultivate an inner sense of validation, knowing that you are enough exactly as you are, with all your imperfections and contradictions. Breaking free from social chains also means rejecting the fear of judgment. Society is quick to judge those who are different, who don't conform to the accepted norms, who step outside of the prescribed path. This fear of judgment is one of the most insidious chains that bind us. It silences our voices, dims our light, and keeps us from expressing our true selves. But when you let go of this fear, you realize that judgment is inevitable. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. The key is not to let their judgment control you. The more you fear judgment, the more power you give to others. When you stop fearing their opinions, you take your power back. Living authentically also requires you to challenge the assumptions and expectations that society places upon you. It means questioning the cultural scripts that have been written for you and rewriting them according to your own desires and values. What does success truly mean to you? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? What are your deepest desires, and are you living in a way that honors them? These are the questions you must ask yourself if you are to break free from the social chains that bind you. As you liberate yourself, you will encounter resistance. Those around you, especially those who are still bound by societal expectations, may try to pull you back into the mold. They may tell you that you are being selfish, that you are being irresponsible, that you are throwing away the security and stability that they have worked so hard to build. But the truth is, they are not resisting you, they are resisting the very idea that life can be different, that they too could break free and live more authentically. When you liberate yourself, you become a living example of what is possible. You show others that it is not only possible to break free from the chains of society, but that it is necessary for living a fulfilling, meaningful life. You become dangerous in the sense that you offer a new possibility, a new way of living that is not constrained by external expectations, but guided by inner truth. This is the kind of danger that the world needs: people who are not afraid to break free from societal norms and live according to their own unique path. In the end, liberating yourself from social chains is not just about personal freedom, it is about creating a ripple effect that inspires others to do the same. When you live authentically, you show others that they too can shed the shackles that have kept them in place. You become a catalyst for change, not just in your own life, but in the lives of those around you. And in this you become truly dangerous, not because you are trying to impose your will on others, but because you are living with such authenticity and courage that it inspires others to do the same. You become a force for liberation, for truth, and for the deep transformation that the world so desperately needs.